Okay, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. I will be sharing my personal healing journey today, and hope it's a blessing for many people. That some people just, there's no more people can do. So, but there is, God is always there. Okay, so Davey, are you there? If you're there, I'd like to introduce the group that is there. I have some friends that came to the Lifestyle Center. We have, hi Davey. If you can show everybody there so I can introduce, if you can hear me. I'm in my little house and there at the Lifestyle Center. We ate together at the Lifestyle Center, but I'm in my little house. And it was so nice having taco meal today. I made tortillas yesterday. And so we had a good lunch. And so I have a few friends there that are visiting. Okay, there it is. Let me see. I'm gonna spotlight for a short time. Okay. Okay, that's my friend, Dr. Bill Sweat. He has a clinic in where? In Texas, Southern Texas, Houston, around Houston, Texas. So these are my friends that we came from Texas. So Dr. B has a property next to us, and so he's here with us. And then we have Davey. Of course, he's visiting. He's in AFCO now. He did a little personal testimony today at the church. So if you want to see it, that is in Face Live in Med Missionary. Then we have also Tayana, my friend that we grew together spiritually, and she's here. She also moved from Texas when we were opening our Lifestyle Center. My husband is in the background there, kind of far away. He's picking up the dishes, I think, from lunch. Then we have our friends here on the left side. I think they all come from Weimar, right? Is that it? Can you turn the camera a little? So you guys are, I think you guys are muted. Okay, Greg is the assistant director at the New Star in Weimar, and his wife, I didn't catch your name. You can tell us what's your name? Sue. You guys muted. And then we have this friend again here next to her. I don't know your name either. I think, okay, you guys still muted. But anyhow, we had a good lunch and good fellowship, talking about the miracles that God has done for many people, talk about testimonies. So, okay. So we're gonna be back to start our program. And yeah, I think you can hear me, but you couldn't hear our friends that we wanted to know their names. But we can start with a word of prayer, and we want to ask that God bless us today. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the blessings. Thank you because you are the only one that can restore our health. We just want to ask you that this message is going to bring a lot of hope to many people that have no hope. And I just want to ask you to bless. I know that you have given us a message, a health message, that there's principles to follow, and that if we're faithful, you can do what we cannot do. And I just want to ask you that you touch the heart. So anybody that's sick out there, or is in a journey to recovery, or they have setbacks, that this can be a blessing. And just want to ask you to please be with us. Send the angels, forgive our sins, please, that you can be with us. Thank you so much for everything. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so I'm going to start with my background, with my life. What was my life when I was growing up, just to give you an idea. I was born in Peru. My father was a pastor and my mother was a teacher. I I grew up vegetarian when nobody was vegetarian at that time. I don't recall anybody being vegetarian when I was growing up, neither in the church or anybody. And but my mother was very faithful spreading the message, and my mom was actually opened up a vegetarian restaurant there, and she had a chain of vegetarian restaurants. There was 3 restaurants that she had, and after that there was many other restaurants that started. So my mom heard the message, the health message from people from the United States that went to Peru when she was going to school in this Adventist college. So that was my mom's background. So my mom did, when we were children, I remember that my mom practiced a lot of natural remedies, and she did she used to put a clay poultice on us. So at night she will come and she will put in a newspaper this clay, moistened clay, which just put it on our abdomens. And as you can imagine, the beds were such a mess by the morning because they're not wrapped with plastic or anything. She just put clay in the newspaper and just put it in our abdomens. It was 5 of us, 4 brothers, and I was the only girl. So she will do that very often. Another thing that she will do is when we were sleeping, maybe it was at 5 o'clock in the morning, she will come bed by bed and she will bring us water, warm water. So we will drink and then we'll go back to sleep. And you could not say you didn't want it because she will not let us sleep. She's so persistent in anything. She will nag you until you had to do it, and you just had to do it because otherwise she will keep pushing. So you just want to do it. And so that's what she did, my mom. And then I remember that when somebody will get sick at my home, she will give us these cold sheets. She wrap us up in a cold sheet and then cover us with a lot of blankets. So she did that hydrotherapy. And another thing that she did after, she gave us our water, we went back to sleep. She will come back again like about 6 o'clock in the morning. She will give us green juices. So there were green juices, and the green juices were pretty bitter. So they were pretty bitter, but we just had to drink it. Otherwise, she wouldn't let us sleep. And that I remember, thank you, Anthony. My husband brought me water. So in the juices, I remember she will put something like dandelions, and I don't recall exactly what greens, but there's another one that I was trying to remember. I don't at this time, but she'll do green juices. And also I remember my parents there was never sweets in the house. There was never, candies or these unhealthy desserts. My mom didn't even make dessert, but there was no pastry in the house. And sometimes, we have friends, other pastors that will come and visit with a bag of these donuts, things like that. And we just look at it, and my father will give us a look, and we knew that, no, that's not acceptable. So we will not eat it. Kind of feel bad for whoever was bringing it. But at the same time, I'm happy now that, we didn't eat those foods, unhealthy foods. Anyhow, we grew up really, really healthy, never being in the hospital. So my 4 brothers, they were very athletic. And, I was the only girl, so I had to just join my brothers and do whatever sports they were doing. So I was pretty good playing soccer. So I was the only girl always in the field playing soccer. And my brothers, I would play just like them. And we did all kinds of sports. We did basketball, bicycle, and all kinds of things. Ping pong, we were like pretty good ping pong players also. And so that's how I grew up, very, very active. And I was, when I was single still, I was running 4 miles every night. And I just love, keeping in a good shape. And but then, when I got married, my husband's background is totally opposite than mine, didn't have any religious background. And so, we start kind of eating not as healthy. My husband loved to please me, you know, in every way. So if he found out I like the M&Ms, he will buy me a humongous box of M&Ms. Then there was, I remember there's this bread, you know, the sweet breads called panettone that we eat in Christmas. He found out I like panettone, and then he will buy me a box of panettone. So that I'll eat every day the panettone. And it was, you know, so it was, and you know, all these healthy habits that I have started disappearing. And so my husband, when he was in the year 2000, you know, up to this point, he loved eating ice cream. So there was these big balls of ice cream, 3 to 5 Pepsis of sodas a day and things like that. But in the year 2000, he started getting sick. So he was suffering osteoarthritis, and the vertebrae, I remember it was C5 and C6, they were like bone to bone, and he was having a lot of pain, and he was even sleeping was very hard, and he will turn, and the arm was numb from the pinching of the nerve. And at the same year, he started getting sick. His liver, he had a lot of inflammation in the liver, and the liver enzymes were pretty high. He was very sick, very weak. He was losing a lot of weight. We went to the doctor, and he said, well, his liver has a lot of inflammation. And so I said, well, what should we do? What is the medication for the liver? And she said, but there's no medication. I'm like, what? So I thought my husband was gonna die. I thought he had cancer or something, because he lost so much weight. He was so weak. And so around that time, somebody showed me a video of Dr. Lorraine Day. I don't know if you guys know. She had this super large breast tumor. It was a stage 4 cancer. And so she changed her ways of eating, her lifestyle, and, you know, the tumor disappeared. So I was very impressed by that. So I wanted to learn all that. And then I remember that, you know, I grew up very healthy, eating very healthy, that these things really impact your health. So I started studying, very, very interested on learning anything and everything I could about natural remedies, and because there was no answers for my husband. And there was one advertisement in a magazine. This was an Adventist magazine, and I said that you can be a naturopathic doctor, and you can do it online at home. So I signed up for that. They sent me a lot of books, and I started reading all these books, and everything I read, I read and apply in my house. And so you know, my husband, it didn't took that long, but he started eating all these junk foods, and we started eating very healthy. So he totally recovered the liver, you know. It was healthy now. The bone, the joint that was so diseased, it somehow built up, and so he didn't have any more pain. They did X-rays before and after, so it was normal after. So I had no idea you can recover from these conditions. So to me, that was like, wow, this was a shocking, and I really love what I was learning. And so in January 2001, we became totally whole plant-based. So we were eating whole plant-based and unprocessed foods. So we started making our own breads, our own juices. So we were making carrot juice and barley green juice that I learned from Dr. Lauren Day, that they do these barley green juices for cancer. So I was doing all that, and everything seemed to be going okay. But in the year 2003, I started feeling kind of not as strong as before. So this is when I was my 3rd year being plant-based, whole plant-based. And so I couldn't understand why. And so, you know, at that time I was playing tennis with my best friend that, you know, later she died from one condition that, you know, from cancer actually. it was metastasized all over. But before that, in San Diego, we were living in San Diego for 1 year there before we moved to Texas, and we're playing tennis every day. So, you know, but my endurance start going downhill. So I used to run for miles, and then I started running 3, and then went down to 2, and then 1 mile, and then I'm very pushy, and I just push myself to do anything and everything, and I have this drive to do things, and so I keep pushing myself, and I'm running around, you know, the neighborhood, and all the time I cannot do that, so I'm just walking. All of a sudden I see myself so shortness of breath, even walking, and even talking now. I'm like, I'm shortness of breath, and I'm so fatigued, and I just want to lay down. And you know, I knew that wasn't me. Something was happening. So I decided to go to the internal medicine doctor, and they checked my hemoglobin. You know, they did labs, and my hemoglobin was about 9 something. So she gave me iron. So I took the iron, but nothing helped really. The numbers didn't improve. My fatigue, my shortness of breath, nothing improved. So, you know, it was kind of, you know, for somebody that's so energetic and wants to be super active and be so debilitated and unable to do any activities, it was very frustrating. So one morning in 2005, I woke up having very strong palpitations, and that was strange. So what I did was I keep changing positions, thinking that, you know, it's maybe the position, but it wasn't going away. So I finally sat and I managed to work, because my job, I was doing infusion to autoimmune disease patients since 2001. So I will go start an IV, and I just check the vital signs, but the whole time you're sitting. So it's pretty relaxing job. But even that job, I couldn't do it the whole day. I had to take naps before patients because I was so weak. When I was walking upstairs to see a patient, I was like, I was just so shortness of breath, and but I managed to work. But that day I was getting ready to work. So I dressed myself. I'm sitting for Anthony to bring my smoothie to the car, so I couldn't do anything, sitting there. And then I decided to check my pulse, and my pulse was 140. So I told my husband, bring me to the hospital. So, you know, this is just totally abnormal. And as he brought me to the hospital, and my hemoglobin was 7 point something. I don't remember the other number, but 7 point something. So when you know, when they were, as soon as this is something that happens to a lot of people like myself with these type of conditions that nobody can figure it out, I got there, you know, I was crying because like, what's happening with me? You know, I've been so strong in my life, now I'm falling apart. And I was crying. So the doctor thought I was, you know, having panic attack, and the nurse was saying, and, you know, very, you know, and I experienced that few times. It's like I'm making it up, all these symptoms, things like that, but I'm not feeling good at all, but because they could not figure it out what I had. But anyhow, when we went to the ER, my hemoglobin was low, so they admitted me to the hospital, and then they gave me 2 units of blood. And then they discharged me the next day. And so after the hospitalization, okay, I need to find out what my problem is. So I start setting up appointments with all kind of doctors. I ended up even with a cardiologist, thinking, you know, because my legs were hurting, and you know, sometimes you can have that problem when you have cardiac problems in the back of your legs. And so I made an appointment with the cardiologist, and then nothing was wrong. Then I went to GYN, you know, maybe I have a female problem, and nothing was wrong. They could not find anything. I went to the GI doctor. They did all kind of tests, and I will tell, you know, I did a lot of research because I have a medical background. I graduated from medical school in Mexico. So I did this research, and then I will tell the doctor, can you please check this? And can you please do this and this and this? And so they will do anything I said, but they couldn't find anything. So finally, I decided I must have something so serious. And if I don't do something, I'm going to die, because I kept going a week. So I made an appointment with the oncologist. So I said, do this test and this test and this. I might have maybe a blood disorder. All the tests came back negative. Everything was looking normal. I said, okay, do a biopsy. I might have something very serious. So they did a biopsy in my hip. So they had to drill in my hip, and they did a biopsy. And I was hoping to find something wrong, so that will give me a hope to do something about it. But the biopsy was normal. And then decided to do, okay, give me a PET scan. I told another doctor, I kept changing doctors to figure it out. Maybe some doctor will find out what is my problem. So I ended up with a hematologist, another hematologist. And I said, can you please give me a PET scan? But the insurance is not going to pay, because nothing suggests that you have cancer. And I said, but yeah, I'm losing weight. I'm so weak. I must have some type of cancer someplace. And nobody has done test me for that. And I said, I want a PET scan. I want my whole body to be scanned so they can find out my problem. So the doctor said, okay, I'll order you a PET scan, but you have to pay it. The insurance is not going to pay. Okay. At that time, I'm going to die, so who cares, right? So I said, yeah, I'll pay it. And then, so they did a PET scan, and they couldn't find out anything. So at that point, I was like, what am I going to do? I guess at that point, I was thinking, okay, I guess I'm dying, and there's nothing nobody can do for me. We cannot figure it out what it is. So my hemoglobin continued going down. And so I asked the doctors, I didn't want to do a transfusion, because that transfusion made me even worse, feel really bad, very weak. So I asked to get an iron infusion. So they did. And so they did the iron infusion. And I went back to the GI doctor at that time. Well, I'm gonna go back for a little bit, because at this time I was just so weak. And so I did, I started praying to God, not for healing me anymore. I was praying to God. One day I woke up and I had a petition, and I say, God, if you want me to, if I'm gonna die, I'm okay dying, I'm okay, but why? I want to know why before I die, because I'm doing everything that I know that's right. I'm plant-based. I don't eat any junk. I don't eat any processed foods, because in the past we will eat these veggie meats, all these processed super unhealthy foods, and the veggie burgers and veggie nests and all that chemicals. And I will take vitamins that are very vitamins and minerals that are all synthetic. And so I stopped all that, and I was doing juicing. I was doing everything that I thought was right. So I said, I'm doing everything. I changed my diet, and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. So I want to know, before I die, I want to know why I'm sick. So pretty sure after that prayer, that was in the summer of 2006, I was at work. There was a pharmacist there, the head of pharmacists, because I will ask everybody. In our work, we had dietitians, pharmacists, nurses. It was a huge company. And so I will ask everybody, have you heard of anybody? Because that the hemoglobin goes down in a cause that is different than any others. And so I will ask everybody, trying to figure out that maybe somebody give me a clue or something so I can research. And so this pharmacist came wherever I was sitting, one of the desks, and she said, read this. So open a magazine and it was an article. So I saw the title. It was about celiac disease, and I just closed the magazine. I said, I already studied about it. I already had the doctor test me for that. They did blood tests specifically for celiac, but nothing was, I mean, I had not that problem. They couldn't find that problem. And so I moved to another office, and it was kind of like God telling me the answer is there. So she's asking this pharmacist, the pharmacist, follow me to the other office and bring the magazine, read this, and throw it on the table. And I said, oh yeah, I'm sorry, because I was disregarding whatever she gave me. So, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'll read it. So I took it home, the magazine, and so I read it, and there was nothing new there. But at the end of the article, it was a lab, a special lab, a GI lab from Texas. And it was about food sensitivities. I never heard such a thing. And, I didn't think, I wasn't going to learn anything from there, but I decided, okay. So I asked my husband, should we test for that? And he said, sure, yeah, let's do that. So anything and everything they have for testing, I did it. It was very pricey, but at this point, whatever I could do, I will do, right? And so they test me for food sensitivities. At that time, I never heard such a thing. I didn't know they can test you for that. I didn't know people can have food sensitivities. I never heard such a thing. This was in 2006. I test myself, and I had an appointment with a GI doctor. So again, after a year after I had my blood transfusion, and then I had the iron infusion, and now my hemoglobin kept going down. And so the doctor wanted to start doing all the tests again. They do this pill that take you pictures. And then you had to put this jacket. I think it's radioactive jacket. I was waiting for 24 hours. They did endoscopy, biopsy. They did all that the year prior. So he said, okay, we're going to repeat everything. So for me, it's like, what is that going to do? They couldn't find out anything. So what is this going to do, right? So that was not any hope for me. And so I immediately, I remember I did this test. That I didn't have the results. So I'm at the GI doctor. So I was thinking, they email me the results. I can show the doctor. Maybe he can give me a clue. So so I called them. I said, no, we can email you. But I want to show it to my doctor. We can email to your doctor. Okay, email to my doctor. So I asked the email to the doctor, and they print it out. They give it to the doctor to read this test. And he was just looking at it, and he never seen such a thing, never heard about food sensitivities. This is when everything was new for everybody. I was right now, these problems are so common right and left. This is an epidemic, all global epidemic, but at that time, you never hear that. So so the doctor is reading, and I didn't even know what he was reading yet. So he took it, he was walking back and forth in the hallway, and he came back, does the insurance pay for that? I said, well, I pay for it. And then he came walking back and forth and never came back to me. Didn't want to talk to me anymore. So I just left. So they mailed me the results, and I was reading. I said, I'm sensitive to what? To foods that are my staple foods, the foods that I grew up, that I was never sick. And it just didn't make any sense to me. How can these foods make me sick? This is the foods, all the Adventists eat, in Adventists and no Adventists. This is the basis of our nutrition. How can this be making me sick? To me, it didn't make sense, but I decided, okay, I'm going to stop these foods because I have no other options. I mean, I ran out of options. So I stopped all those foods that were sensitive to, and guess what? I start feeling better and little better and little better. Every week I'll start feeling a little stronger. a little less shortness of breath, my strength start coming back. And but in the meantime, this was such a puzzle for me, because how can these foods make you sick? It didn't make any sense to me. The Bible talk about these foods that we, they were eating. I ate all my life, and how can that make me sick? So I started doing a lot of research into that. And in the meantime, to my patients, people in the church, friends, relatives, anybody that will want to hear my story, I will tell them. To me, that was like I'm getting better and better and better. I mean, it didn't make any sense, but I want to share with anybody that was sick also, do the same thing I'm doing. Maybe that will help you, if you don't have any answer. So, but many people didn't want to hear it. They could care, I mean, it didn't make any sense. And of course, I don't blame them, because it didn't make any sense for me either, until there was one person that finally wanted to do whatever I done. And that was this lady that went to her house, and she was with a walker. She was probably in the early 40s. And she had a son that was 17. And she had walking in a walker, and she seemed too young to be in a walker. So I was like, okay, tell me your story. So while I was giving her an infusion, she had some type of autoimmune. She's telling me, well, I've been sick for 17 years. So the whole life that the son only knew a very sick mom. And I've been sick for 17 years. I keep bleeding. They remove part of my colon, but I keep bleeding, and then my hemoglobin keeps going down. And I had to go, she will go from Dallas to her appointments in Houston, more specialized hospitals. So she will go once a month there to be checked, but nobody could figure it out. And so she was diagnosed with many things, many diseases, autoimmune diseases, but they couldn't figure it out what she was bleeding, what's her, the cause or anything like that. They didn't have a treatment other than do blood transfusions. And so I told her my story, and she said, okay. I told her all I could, because I already have a very good lifestyle with eating pretty healthy, but I removed those foods. And I told her that. So she did the same thing. And next day, she tested herself with a lab, and she immediately, just like I did, as soon as I got my results, I immediately removed those foods. She did the same thing. And then she started, and then I didn't see her. We used to go every 3 weeks to give her an infusion. They sent another person to do the infusion in 3 weeks. So I didn't see her for 6 weeks. So the 6 weeks, I went and saw her. And she was a new person. She was pink because she was always pale. I mean, that the only time I saw it, she's very pale, very fragile, very weak. She was pink, and she was straight. No walker, straight up, normal person. And I was like, wow, what happened with you? And she said, well, I did what you told me. I'm only eating plant-based, whole plant-based, remove those foods, and eating organic. That's what she told me. I was like incredibly amazed by what happened with that person that was sick for 17 years. In 6 weeks, she's up and looking like normal. I'm pretty sure she had a long ways to go, but she was looking amazing. So that day I decided, wow, it's only me that's discovering this, or how come nobody else is talking about it? I never hear. I'm doing a lot of research, but I haven't heard anybody doing anything like this. So I decided, I need to start a lifestyle center. So in the year 2000, I need to start a lifestyle center because I want to help people that were suffering like me and had no help. so I can help these people, so they wouldn't have to go through what I went through, or there's a lot of people that already been through like me, but they don't have answers, so we can help them. So I decided that in year 2008, we have an experience, conversion experience. And I think God was preparing me all this time to learn all this. And I had so much to learn still, spiritually speaking also, especially because I was lost in the church. That's another story of my conversion, but I was totally lost in the church. I was very active in the church, but I had absolutely no truth. I have no knowledge of present truth. So, but 2008, God had compassion on us. My friend Tayana that's watching this, and myself also, Dr. Bill was one of the persons I think that had a revival at that year in a group of friends. And so I was studying any book and every book that Sister White we did wrote, and also I was studying the Bible verse by verse, and learning about what really God requires from me. How can I follow Him 100%? And so I was studying my Bible like that, and because I was driving a lot, because I would see patients in the hospital and the in houses, and I will drive a lot. So I was listening CDs of Sister White on health and Great Controversy, all those key books. And I was totally convicted that God wants me to do a lifestyle center, home-like lifestyle center, just like she said. I have to live in the country, grow my own food. I have to be a medical missionary, and I had to follow God with everything and anything that He has given us for these times. And I was feeling that the time is short, and that was 2008. And I still feel that the time is short, because what I learned in all this time, I'm still not ready. There is so much learning to do. And so that year, we learned that, we're supposed to do be medical missionaries, supposed to have lifestyle centers. Every town should have a lifestyle center, a sanitarium, sanitarium. So anybody can bring in their house a person that's sick to do God's work and help them heal. And so it should be home-like sanitariums, and they should be growing their own foods. And because the times that are coming are going to be very difficult, and because we won't be able to buy and sell, and that we supposed to, the last work that's going to be there is going to be the medical missionary work, and we are going to have jobs doing the medical missionary work, because everything else will be gone. And so I was saying, so that caused a big impression in my life. So I was talking to my husband, okay, we had to find this place. So we're thinking that we were going to build up a place. So we were driving with my friend Tayana, we're driving all over the country looking for the place. So we checked Tennessee, Arkansas, all that area, Texas, because we live in Texas, but nothing was, I had in my mind a picture of how Sister White talks about it. So I thought it had to be country, very, very private area, rolling, the hills are nice like that, not a flat area. I don't know why I had that in mind. That's what I had in mind. So whatever place we were going, it didn't look the right place. So one morning I woke up early in the morning. I was praying to God. Okay, God, tell me today where to go. I've been waiting for 2 years. I cannot wait now. If my house doesn't sell, I'm moving. I'm just moving. So please tell me today. So I was just singing and praying. And so while I was praying, I had a friend that called me in the middle of the prayer. And this friend said, Mercita, we found the place. And I'm like, where is the place? In California. I'm like, California, that's the last place I want to go. That's what my first thought was. And but then I said, who is me to decide, right? So God is showing me, answering my prayer when I'm praying. And so there was so I said, okay, I want to join you with some people that want to do lifestyle also, a lifestyle center. So so she joined me to a group of prayer, and these people were praying, and they were praying like people that was so faithful. They were praying like people that were like from the Bible. There was this doctor, this was a cardiologist, and the wife and the friend, and people, there was a group, it was a company. And I said, wow, God really wants me to go to California. And, I knew the regulations to build a house and all that. So, but she said, no, this is a place that's ready to go. I said, okay. So I decided, okay, we are going to go and drive. Not drive, fly. So with my friend Diana and my husband and my family, we flew. This was in the summer. This was in the summer of 2011. And so at that year, going back, okay, I'm gonna go back to when we, came to see this place. In the year 2009, I was reading. Our family worship service was about reading Adventist Home every morning, and then we did a child guidance also. And one morning I was reading, I could never find this passage anymore. I don't know if God put it there for me, but it said that a woman, when she's 9 years old, should be in the kitchen cooking a full meal. And then I was like a 49. At that time, I said, oh boy, I'm so behind. I need to go in the kitchen. So at that time, my daughter was, I think she was 12 years old. So I brought her that day to the kitchen, and we never stopped being in the kitchen. So my daughter became a super good cook, very natural. I'm not a natural. I had to write down everything that I cooks, otherwise the next time it won't come out. So I write it down. So until we create so many recipes, because people having food sensitivities or of different kinds. And so that's what happened in the year 2009. So, but God had to teach me those lessons. So at that time, He couldn't move me to open up a lifestyle center. If I don't know how to cook, how can I open up a lifestyle center? That's the basis of health. That's, anybody can go in the sun. The laws of health are easy. You go to the sun, you exercise, you get fresh air, you drink water, but who knows how to cook? That's the issue. That's the problem. That's the problem that we have found, that people have no idea how to cook healthy. And so that day we went with my daughter to the kitchen. I never stopped cooking. And, I never like to cook. I always said, I'm going to school because I'm not going to be a cook, because I thought, in Peru, we have maids that do everything for us. So I said, I'm not going to do that. It's a waste of time for me. That's what I thought. And but then I was reading this passage from the Spirit Prophecy that said that, these amazing principles about cooking and how important it is one of the best things that you can do in life, to sustain the health of your family, and how important that is. And even to make a bread, she said, travel across the country if you have to find a good cook, if you have to. And so that was very impactful for me. So I start cooking, and God really blessed, because my family knew that I never wanted to go in the kitchen. And my husband used to complain to my mom and say, how come you didn't teach her to cook? And my mom, oh, it's because she plays piano and things like that. So and then so when I started cooking, my friend Tayana and my other friend Michael and Michelle, they were meat eaters, but we were all convicted that we really had to dedicate our lives to God and follow God's ways. We all started learning to cook together. So we were learning during the week, and on Sunday we have a cooking class. So we'll invite the neighborhoods or people from other churches, so they will come to learn what we will, you know, like they know we're not cooks, we didn't know how to cook, you know, plant-based things like that, or any me myself, but they will come and learn. But God bless, because those foods were delicious, and they were just so excited to come back the next Sunday. So we are working hard during the week, learning the dishes and training these people. Pretty soon the people were in the churches were start inviting us to teach classes on cooking and health. Then communities were inviting us, and then I remember very clearly. And then so God had to teach us all those principles in order for us to do a lifestyle center. How can you start a lifestyle center not knowing how to cook? You know, that's the basis of basis, right? So anyhow, so 2011, we came to see the place. And when I was just driving, you know, all these trees and pines and the beauty and up and down roads to come to the place. And when we came to the place, there was a gate, you know, a gate, a small gate, not the gated community. No, we're in the rural. I was a gate, and there was, you know, ups and down, and we crossing water. And I was asking God, I want a place that has a lot of water, has 80% of trees, because we need that for survival in times. So that was exactly, we're crossing over water, you know. I mean, sometimes in the winter, the cars, we couldn't even move out of the house because there's so much water until we fix it. You know, Dr. Bill helped us fix that. So, so there was water, there was a lot of trees, it was up and down, there was this big house here, and then there was a little house, because that's what I was envisioning, a big house for the lifestyle and a little house for us. So, you know, this friend sent me a picture of this house that was falling apart, and I guess we're gonna live there. You know, it's a little trailer, I think, and I thought that was wherever we're gonna live. So I said, oh, well, that's okay. You know, if we had to live in a tent, I was just willing to do anything for doing God's work. So, and this little thing that was falling apart, that's what I was expecting. So when we came here, it was nothing like that. It wasn't nothing fancy. It's a cabin, but it was a well-done cabin with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a little tiny kitchen, which I cook there. This is not the lifestyle. The lifestyle has a big kitchen, and there's a little living room and a little dining room. Good enough for me. I was really happy with that, because the picture was like a, you know, I was happy. It was much improvement. So I said, wow, this is just perfect. So we went back and we decided, okay, you know, we decided that we're moving to California. My husband was very happy because, you know, that's California. He wanted to come back to California. So, we moved the same summer. We moved right away almost. But you know, what God did was, I was asking last night, I was telling our friend Bill that one thing that I was asking God, I want a reassurance that this is the place. You know, I came to see it. It looks great. I want to move there, but I want to have a reassurance that really, really is the place. So I said, God, if you want me to really move to this place, have my 2 friends, they were 2 physicians, these 2 friends to call me this weekend. We never call each other, never. We just meet in conferences and have them call me. So they both called me that weekend. So I got goosebumps. I'm like, oh boy, God really wanted me to go to California. So, okay. So we decided to move. We moved really quick. But the amazing thing was that we went back. When we went back, this couple came to the house. We had the house for sale for 2 years, right? There's so many lessons for God to show me these 2 years in order to prepare me to open up a lifestyle center. When we came back, this couple came to the house. In 2 years, we had so many people interested, we never got an offer. But when we came back from this trip, these people came and give us an offer. Not just an offer, they said, we'll pay cash, and I want the house in 1 week. So we had to move in 1 week. And they bought the house cash, more of what we were expecting. to get paid. And so, you know, when you work in the health field, you have to give them 2 week notice at least. But my boss was super good friends with me, and he said, no problem, just go, it's okay. So in 1 week, friends came and packed, and we didn't know where anything was. And you know, we moved. We were arriving, I think it was a Thursday night. And my husband wanted to come directly to this place. There was nothing. We didn't know where the blankets were, nothing. So we slept in the tile. It was summer. We just slept in the tile. We found a pillow, put a pillow in our head, and we're just happy we're here. So that's how we started the Lifestyle Center. We moved in 2011. That was the summer. In the month of September, just a month after we were here, we did a class. We didn't do. I had a guy, hire a guy to do teach us how to grow foods. So what we did is I invited a bunch of people, and I don't know how 30 people came. I just sent an email. You have friends in California area, send your friends. We're gonna have a gardening seminar. So I don't know if you know him, Lin Hoag. He's the one we founded. And so he did, 30 people came, they dig, they put, you know, when they left, the garden was done. So it was instant garden. So the next month we did another gardening seminar. So we got 2 gardens going, in the trees. So we learned how to do trees. So that's what we did in the first year, getting our gardens going, because Sister White said that, you know, the first thing you do is where you're gonna grow your food. So we start putting trees for fruit, because that takes longer. And then that was in 2011. In 2012 I did a detox training for 2 weeks, and that was with Danny Vieira. When he was alive. I just want to give credit of, I learned the part of the detox from him, and I learned all the autoimmune disease from my own experience and the research in the Bible and Sister White. And then so I did that in October 2012. In January 2013, we start our Lifestyle Center with the first, we started with 6 people. It was, you know, some people found out that I went to Danny Vieira. It was the first training they were doing. So when I came back, I said, oh, we want to do detox. I didn't even find the people. They found me. So I said, okay, sure. So I put a program. We did a detox. The first client was a lady, you know, they're all healthy people, but there was one client, one lady that was sick. This was a lady that had end-stage liver disease, end-stage kidney disease, varicose veins because of the liver disease. So she will bleed here and there. And then, so she was really, really, really sick. So, you know, at that time, you know, I knew I didn't know better. So I said, sure, you know, if that were now, somebody like that come now, I will be careful. I will probably coach her at home first before coming to a Lifestyle Center, because those are very serious cases. But anyhow, God wanted me to, he wanted me to learn a lesson, because this was one of the most severe cases I've ever helped, and got really blessed because she was bleeding. When she actually was here, she started bleeding. So we had to bring her to the hospital, and she was very, very sick because she was dying. And the son had so much faith. I said, no, you're gonna get better. You're gonna get better. So we're gonna bring you home, and we're gonna continue doing the therapy. Anyhow, she came back, and we helped her do all kind of things. We apply all the principles, anything and everything that we learned throughout this time doing the research, and got really blessed because her kidneys start functioning, the liver enzymes in the test was showing good results, numbers. She started walking. She's a person that was literally dying in the hospital. And she couldn't get stable to come home, but there was a little, time that she was half stable and they brought her home. And so to me, that's God showed me that there is nothing impossible for me. It's not that I'm going to bring the healing to the person applying whatever I learned. It's because God is the source of healing. And I learned this passage that, I'm paraphrasing and didn't memorize, but I can paraphrase it. It says that if my people follow if we follow God's remedies that God has given us, and we do all humanly possible, applying those principles, God is going to do the rest. And that stuck to me. Okay, so who is me to say that this person that is dying is not going to get better? It's up to God. It's not up to me. So I could never say somebody that wants me to help, I cannot help. And even if it's a stage for cancer, or which we don't really focus on cancer, but people come to us sometimes with advanced cancer. But I say, I cannot guarantee you anything. All I can say is that we can pray that God does whatever He has is the purpose on you, and we can do our best. And so I learned that, when you see super, super complicated cases, because we have people that come that are so sick that there's nothing anybody can do anymore for them. And some people that have been in and out of the hospital, and some people that have been in ventilators. And then, so if I don't rely on God, they can die in our lifestyle center, because they can have this bout of autoimmune attack and die, or can eat something that, and we don't live that close to the hospital here. And but thanks God, in all these years, we've been doing this for 10 years now, almost 10 years. We never had anybody that had to go to the hospital because, they have some things. So God has always helped us, because every time we have some condition, we always pray, please God, help us to what to do. What do we need to do in this case? Because when you have autoimmune disease, anything can happen. Everything is everybody's different, and nothing is not a pattern of symptoms. It can be this and that. It's just very, very unpredictable. So we have to always rely on God. Okay, help me what to do with this person. And then you learn, you have more and more experience. God gives you more and more experiences. And then you feel more confident to know what to do. But there's times that I don't feel confident, and I just have to come and plead to God and tell me, okay, what do I do now? I try everything. What do I do? And God always answer. And got you to this simple supernatural remedy. And so we have learned that, everybody is super different. Somebody's asking, what were the food sensitivities? Yes, very, very important question. I need to address that. I will address that, Patricia. And so, doing this type of job, it's not like the food sensitivities I have is other people are gonna have. I found out that every person is different. When we do our focus in our program is the food. Natural remedies are okay, but this doesn't replace the food. The praise supersede everything in anything, because this is the basis, right? So, and then you do natural remedies, this help to alleviate the issues, things like that, but it's not going to fix the problem. The problem is going to be fixed because it's the food, it's in the food, it's the food that you're eating that's making you sick. And so our programs are in the medical missionary. God has led us to open up this medical missionary training that we do on Saturday mornings at 6:10 in the morning, and I do the Spanish at 6 o'clock. And led us to focus on the practical, because knowledge of all kinds are great, but if you cannot put into practice, how can you help somebody? You know, there was, I don't know if you know, Dr. Alessio Fasano, he's the one that discovered leaky gut and the molecule of leaky gut. And, you know, I read this amazing book he put, but the practical part, there was eating meat and eating this and very processed, very unhealthy. So no wonder not everybody that makes some changes get better. You know, there's so much more to do. And then he was doing this super good, amazing lecture to a group of people. There was moms there that were suffering because the kids are having these food sensitivities. And he was, so the mom said, they're listening all this, but I say, what do we eat? You know, what can our kids eat? You know, that's the question. What can they eat? What is the combinations? What is the, you know, the balance food? It's not like all this knowledge, right? The knowledge is important, as I said. So that's why, you know, when we put this Med Missionary training with Dr. Joyce Choe, we focus on the practical part. And we do have the science, because we have videos from the science that you can hear that Dr. Joyce did it. So there is over 20 why we do what we do, and addressing every issue of food sensitivities, leaky gut, microbiome, all those things are very important. But you can listen those videos, you can learn so many other things that we put it in there. The spiritual part, that's so super important, the Bible and the pioneer work, all that. But how about the practical? So the practical is the key, right? So is whatever in the practical is what I think most of our lifestyle centers are missing. And so what we do is we teach them every day, about 2 hours a day, how to prepare their meals, how to combine the meals, how is to be a balanced, plant-based and processed, anti-inflammatory, in the foods that you are addressing the food sensitivities also. So that is the key. I am talking about autoimmune disorders, but this actually works for any kind of conditions. And so that's our focus when we train with Dr. Joyce is, what do you eat? What is the protocol? What are the super healing foods that you have to use to decrease inflammation faster? And then we have, of course, natural remedies. And that is, you know, an extra things that we can do to improve our symptoms. But the cause, to remove the cause, it has to be in the food. And so anyhow, we start doing that. And we have when we demonstrate foods, we have all our people here. We only have 9 beds. Okay, this is a small facility, and we don't have facilities for somebody that just want to you know, be with somebody, because we don't have that service. Everybody's doing detox, and everybody's learning everything, and everybody's participating, everybody's going through everything. So I have these 9 people here sitting. So I'm preparing some food, and on the spot we had to prepare different foods, because the same recipe we had to make it different, because this person cannot eat onions. I mean, onions is a healthy food, but you know, I make them sick. I believe them. Or this person cannot eat lemon. Okay, make a recipe with a lemon. This person cannot have this. Okay, how about you? Oh, I cannot this part. So on the spot, you're creating new recipes. So God, you always pray that God help us that they still are tasty, and you will replace it with other things, other herbs, to give the flavor. And we learn throughout the years, okay, how you replace better this with this. And anyhow, now it's not as complicated as before, and that's what we teach people. So throughout the years, we learned that, okay, I'm gonna tell you what are the biggest food sensitivity foods. Okay, I have several questions about that, so we're gonna talk about the food sensitivities. So the food sensitivities, I call them the big 5 food sensitivities, where the people that are very sick are not tolerating. So that's number 1 is gluten. Gluten is usually for everybody. And, you know, I'm not talking about the reason here because we don't have time. There is so many reasons why these foods, the devil has put their finger on it, destroying them. They're not as healthy as, as God created them. So it's the gluten. Number 2 is corn. Number 3 is soy. Number 4 is yeast. And number 5, guess what? Type there. Which one do you feel is the number 5? Can you type it? Number 5, anybody type it. Can you guess what is the number 5 food? Somebody say milk. No, we're totally plant-based, but good try. Another food, what is the 5th? It's a plant-based food and it's a grain. It's a grain. Somebody type which one it is. I want to repeat it, these 4, and then okay, somebody guess right. Another person is guess right. Okay. Okay, the 5th is oats. Okay, I'm going to repeat, okay? It's gluten, corn, soy, yeast, and oats. This is the 5 foods that most people are very sick, absolutely cannot eat. I counsel people, I do coaching. Same thing we teach in the training. We don't have any secrets. We don't want to hold any secrets. We want to share anything and everything we learn, because we feel that, God really blessed that we don't hold anything. We just want to share everything and anything that we learn. And so, this, okay, I forgot the train of thought. If somebody remind me there. So these are the 5 foods, right? So, and then the 5 that, this is what I was saying. I coach people, very severe people have been sick for decades. People have been, they're disabled. People are, they're totally, they just not functioning at all. And so we remove all these 5 foods totally. So in our protocols that we teach for our Med Missionary, we don't have these 5 foods. They're not there at all. And another thing I learned from people that come here, when we reintroduce after detox nuts, they get bloated. So I said, oh, okay. And we noticed program after program. So we decided, okay, let's not do nuts at this time because they're not ready for it. They're harder to digest. Let's do fatty acid seeds, which is the sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. Okay, let's add that because we still want to be sure they're balanced. Our foods are super balanced. Every group of food isn't during the day. You have to eat it in order to be balanced. You cannot just pick up one thing, eat a smoothie and think, okay, this is balanced food. That's not balanced at all. So, so we teach them how to eat balanced, anti-inflammatory, and processed. And we remove those 5 foods. The nuts, we don't introduce until all the symptoms are gone. Then the other food that we realized it was hard for people to digest was not oats, because those are fat foods. 5 foods that we don't add it in our therapeutic protocol are the grains, other grains like rice and sorghum, teff, wild rice. There is one more. Other grain. We remove totally all the grains until the symptoms are gone, and these grains we reintroduce them later on. Another thing that we don't do is we don't do sweet fruits. We only do the low sugar fruits when you're following the therapeutic diet. Only low sugar fruits. And then because we want to balance the bacteria, we want to be sure the microbiome is well balanced, because when you're sick, your bacteria is going to be unbalanced. You're going to have leaky gut. You have a lot of inflammation. So this is the 3 things that we had to address. So the food's anti-inflammatory, that's taking care of that. Leaky gut has to be fixed, otherwise the proteins undigested are going to end up in different organs of your body. And the microbiome has to be fixed. If the microbiome is not fixed, it's not balanced, you're going to have a lot of inflammation. So that's how it is. So we address all those components, and we follow every principle that we have found in the spirit prophecy. And I believe that this is the key, following every principle that we had in the spirit prophecy. So all those principles are into the therapeutic plan and into the protocol. So somebody's asking, when you day balance? What you mean by it when I say balanced food? Okay, so we have different groups of foods that had to be eaten in one day in order to be balanced. And that's another thing that people are missing. So you have to have the grains, right? In our case, we eat the pseudo grains because the grains are harder to digest when we're sick. So we do pseudo grains, and the pseudo grains are quinoa, buckwheat, amaranth, cañiwa, things like that. And then that's one group. You have to have fruits. Okay, we have these low sugar fruits. You have to have fats, and you have these fatty acid seeds. You have to have, so that's the oils, right? Fat oils. There you have to have your greens, certain amount of greens. So we tell you how much of greens you have to have a day. Then you have to, so all this, and then you have these super healing foods like turmeric and the omegas. And every day you have to have all these foods in certain ways, in a balanced way. Some foods cannot be combined with other foods. So, you know, for eating a whole plant-based balance and process, anti-inflammatory, you know, it is a science behind. And so, you know, we have to take into consideration all that. So for people that have been sick for decades, you know, we just did an interview in Spanish. Actually, we're doing the Spanish training now. We did a second training that is going to graduate tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow the English class is graduating at 7 o'clock, and the Spanish class is graduating at 7. So you join because you're gonna hear these amazing stories of people, their healing journey. So if this is not balanced and unprocessed and all, that's not gonna work. So I said, when I take a case, I said, you know, this is gonna help you, and I explain everything. I explained it to you already. It's very effective, and we're gonna ask God, you know, God's hand is gonna be, you know, guiding us. And but you have to be very committed. You have to be very faithful following. So this doesn't work if you don't follow 100%. So I tell them, just think about it. If you wanna do it, you can do it, and I'll be happy to work with you. So, you know, most of people come back and they wanted to do because they've been very sick. And, but, you know, at the same time, you know, I cannot help everybody because I'm only one person. So anybody and everybody that like to get trained, we train them when they come to our lifestyle center. The massive training we done is in the Med Missionary work. We train hundreds of people, maybe over 700 people already in only a year and a half. And God has blessed because everything, the information that we give is all done for you. The menu is ready with all these principles. The protocol is there. The schedules are there, because if we're gonna follow God's principles, you know, just to give you an example, you know, 5 hours between meals. Yeah, you don't eat the last meal, has to be early if you eat the third meal. Then you have to learn, when do you eat 3 meals? When do you eat 2 meals? So it's so many principles. When do you drink your water? What time you started your meal? So we made a protocol that tells you exactly the times of everything that you can do. You know, you can vary that depending on your work, but it's an example to follow. So it is so clear and easier to do, right? Because it's so much to learn. It can take you years to learn, like it did to ourselves. Dr. Joyce has her own experience of many years also of searching, and I had the same experience of many years of searching. And but God has blessed us, you know, because the incredible thing is that the health message is progressing. The health message is not like you learn. It's like I'm just gonna put it as an example. Like Gerson therapy was developed over, I think, 70 years by Dr. Gerson, but it's the same therapy. It hasn't progressed. You know, the science has progressed. The world's different, and you know that some foods you cannot eat anymore. They eat oats every morning, potatoes every lunch. You know, things that are not healthy anymore. Or you know, it's another thing that Nightshades, we don't eat it until the symptoms are gone, and then we reintroduce one at a time. Things like that. And so God's message is progressive. So God gives us more knowledge, we add it. As God tells us, okay, now it's time to change this, we have to change it. We have to be according to what is happening, the toxicity of this world. And so every program, actually, we upgraded. Our training and Med Missionary, every program we adding a little bit. So as we learn, and we learn from our clients, we learn from you guys, when you join it, something has worked, we tried, oh, it works, okay, let's add it to this. This is something amazing. People give different knowledge to different people, and we are willing to learn from them, as long as it follows the principles that God has given us through the spirit of prophecy and to the Bible. And so it's been just a super amazing road. And since we joined efforts with Dr. Joyce in 2016, she came to LaSalle Center in 2016. She just wanted to see what we're doing. She didn't believe it was gonna be something different, but we joined efforts that year, and we stayed in touch. What I like about her, she was searching for truth, and she was a prayer warrior. I love praying, and we will pray like almost every night after we met. We're praying when she came to LaSalle Center, so we're praying every night. So I say, boy, that's really a good person to team up to do God's work. And God has really blessed it, because our ministry really work exponentially. And so now we're doing in 2 languages. And we're talking about doing in Chinese also. We had some people that are interested doing Chinese. We did lectures just a couple of weekends ago, and we had these different doctors translating our program. They were very interested too. And so we don't know, what God has in store for us, but whatever God has for us, we will move forward with His strength, with His guidance. And we actually gonna start our outreach. We're gonna continue doing in-reach and continue training medical missionaries from every country. And but we are also studying. We're hoping that this month, September, hopefully maybe toward the end of September, we will start the outreach that our website is called Wholeness for Life. You can get in there already, but it's not finished. It's in work. It's in progress. And so we have this super incredible health message that God has given us to His church to share with the world, and then bring salvation to them also, for God to give salvation to them. So that's starting. That's something that God has opened the doors. And so I'm gonna start answering some questions. I wanna pray and then answer some questions, okay? Okay, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for how you have led us, how you spare our lives to dedicate ourselves to you. And that's what we also want to teach other people, not just to improve their health themselves, but to help other people, to be grateful of what you have done in our lives, and then expand this message to people that are suffering. This world is a mess. There's not one family that is healthy anymore. And there's so much work to do, and we need more people joining your army. And I just want to ask you to touch more and more people to help the experiences that we heard just even as this week, of people having trained in helping other people to recover. And it's just so encouraging seeing people that have been suffering sometimes for decades. They're no longer in pain, and they're willing to follow you and do your work. And I just want to thank you for every opportunity that you have given us. I want to thank you for every person that's here in this this Sabbath afternoon podcast. I just want to ask you to bring blessings. There's a reason why they're here. You have some special work for them. I just want to ask you that everybody is willing to follow you to do the medical missionary work that you have commanded us to do at the times, and we're living there. It's just time is so short. And so I just want to ask you, don't allow us to do the wrong thing. Don't allow us to teach people erroneous things, but only things that are acceptable, only things that are perfect in your eyes. And I just want to thank you for all the support of this community, the Med Missionary community, that has been so encouraging to us, that we hear and see people now almost in every church that we go, and it's an amazing encouragement to us to continue doing this work. Just want to ask you that you give us the endurance. We know that, I mean, the times that are coming are going to be like never before, are going to be very difficult times, but with your strength, with what you teach us, what you're teaching us now, that you can be stronger than ever, that you can make us stronger than ever, not physically, just physically, but also spiritually, so we can have your power, and also that all the fear that is all over the world, it won't touch us. So I just want to thank you so much for everything, and especially bless this group in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so there is some questions here. So we make our own thing. So people ask us, how about coconut milk? You know, we make our own coconut milk. It's very, very simple the way we do. Nothing fermented. We don't use anything fermented because, you know, Sister White talks about fermentation. So fermentation, you can have good bacteria and bad bacteria. So we only want to have, you know, a balance with more beneficial bacteria and pathogenic bacteria. So we don't do any fermented foods. So we do not use the cedar and all that stuff, unless it's unless it's not fermented at all. Let's see other questions. How long is the program you run? Okay, our program for Years Restore, that's our lifestyle center. Years Restore, we run for 10 days. So we only have 5 programs a year because I'm extremely busy. We have so many ministries. So, and these programs are so busy, take every second of your life. So I do 5 programs a day, starting in January, every other month. The last program is in September. And then we started again in January. So in the 10 days, because that's good enough, we teach them anything and everything is put in paper. And we train them physically how to prepare foods to here, and how to do natural remedies too, and do detox. Phyllis said most grains contain gluten, not just in wheat. Well, there's some other grains like a rye and barley have gluten. There's other problems with other grains. It's mainly other things that, you know, doing certain preparation, following the principle from Sister White, that can be taken care of. Anyone know of a good non-dairy milk? You know, the coconut milk is pretty good. We just use the flakes of coconut, just fill it up with warm water, when in the Vitamix, and blend it and strain it. That makes a super good milk. Do you have plans on what to do if the storage in foods that we use get worse? Absolutely. We are very, very mindful of that, and we are preparing for that. We do, you know, we use Azure Standard, and we buy bags of 25 pounds, and we put in the Miller bags and put oxygen, and that will last for many years, for 20 years probably. Foods, I know Jesus, I know that's my conviction, Jesus is coming much sooner than 20 years, but at least for the time, the foods will be good. Asian with ancient, you know, because we deal with very, very serious cases, we do not eat ancient wheats either. That might be okay for people who have not been sick. Okay, I think we are done. We can close with a word of prayer. And I hope to see you tomorrow. And our graduation, the graduation is at 6 o'clock for Spanish class and 7 o'clock for the English class. So you will see the testimonies, medical missionaries that are doing work, and is incredible testimonies that we're gonna hear tomorrow. So I hope to see you tomorrow in our graduation, 2 graduations. And if you like to just find us, I think we send newsletter for the link. Also on Facebook, we posted. And if you like to register, go to medmissionary.com and you can register for September 18, we start the next program. So I hope to see you there. You will be super blessed by joining. We have a live questions and answers every Sunday. We do night. We started with devotional. Pastor, you know, Dell does the devotionals early in the morning. Then we do the lecture. We start with a health evaluation. We go to the shopping list and do a therapeutic menu. We do a protocol. After that, we do natural remedies. After, how about if this is not working, what changes you do? After that, we do the business part. How do you coach other people? If you like to have your own business, you can get ideas from there. That's the last class we do, because this is to help other people. Whether you want to do as a business or just helping people, you can do that. So that's the 6th class, and those are live. In the last 30 minutes, we do answer your questions, and it's 2 hours from 6:30 to 8:30. So I hope to see you there.